Good afternoon to you, Sheriff Lamb. Now, here's what we know. Authorities believe she was abducted from her home. Authorities found DNA evidence at her home and are conducting searches, but we don't have suspects yet or persons of interest, and no video recordings released so far. Can you speak to what are some of the challenges here for investigators unique to this case?
Well, look, we're seeing these challenges. You don't have her. That's the first challenge. What you're going to have to do is look at the cameras. Now we're hearing that the cameras were on a loop, so she didn't have a subscription, which would actually record the videos from those cameras. You're going to have to start looking at cell phone pings at the house, whose cell phone would have been pinging there. You do have a list of people you're always going to look at who had the means or the opportunity or the motive. And sometimes that includes family members. We want to be able to weed them out, make sure they're not involved as well. They're going to go through a lot of different investigative methods. I love that they've called in the FBI to help. They've called in BORTAC. BORTAC is the Border Patrol Special Unit. They're excellent at tracking people. So they're going through all of the right motions to find somebody in a case like this. They're complex. They have only a little bit of evidence to work off as far as where she is. They've got evidence that insinuates that a crime has occurred. Now you got to look at the evidence that helps you track her down.
Okay, so they're offering a $50,000 reward. How helpful can these rewards be in cases like this from your personal experience?
Look, if somebody did indeed commit this crime, whoever did, I think they may have underestimated the amount of media coverage and the amount of resources that would be applied to this case. I saw that even the president has said, hey, whatever we need to do, let's help bring some resolution to this case and find Savannah Guthrie's mother. So, look, I don't think that they estimated this. Also, is a concern if she was indeed kidnapped. They're feeling the pressure on that end as well. Hopefully, you see them make a mistake if there indeed was a kidnapping involved. If there wasn't, hopefully the search and rescue teams can find her sooner than later. It gets cold at night in the desert. That is not a place you want to be. So if that is a possibility, you're going to want to find her ASAP. And I know they're exhausting every resource to do that.
So they've retrieved a ransom letter that was sent to the press, haven't confirmed whether it's legitimate. The FBI has someone already in custody, have been already arrested over imposter ransom command. So, I mean, is it difficult to verify a ransom letter, especially today?
Well, the problem is that every ransom letter that's not legit just exhausts resources, resources that could be applied to finding Mrs. Guthrie instead of actually going after people who are just trying to get attention. So that makes it tough. And it also makes it tough to know if indeed it is a real ransom letter. And so this is going to be what you're going to use all your resources to try to make sure if it's legit, not legit. Look, I think they're doing a great job. I think that the detectives there do good work, and these are not easy cases. We've had cases in the past where people have gone missing. One in particular we had, and I don't mean to correlate the two because in the end we end up finding that subject dead. But these take time and it takes a lot of resources, and you use a lot of different investigative techniques to hopefully find that missing person.
So Savannah Guthrie posted a video pleading for her 84-year-old mother's safe return. Could you just speak to how difficult potential ransom situations can be for the victims' families? And can you talk to us about kidnap for ransom cases in the U.S., especially those involving federal and local authorities? What tools and strategies do they implement to find and retrieve victims?
Look, I know it's tough for the families to make a statement like this. It's a very emotional situation. I thought that they said some very key things in there. For one, they want proof of life. They've said they're open to any communications should somebody be asking for a ransom. Also, so they've opened that line of communication. They want to see the proof of life, which is what you're going to ask for in a case like this. Then they're also is saying we miss you, we want you. So there's if that person is out there, they have a reason to continue to live. And then the last piece of it is saying that we're going to just keep looking for you, and that insinuates we're not going to stop. And also that the resources that are being applied are not going to stop until they find her. So those are all very key pieces of information. And I hope that they're helpful in this. In meantime, it buys time for the investigators to process through all of those other investigative methods that they would use to find her. I like all Americans across this country, are praying that she's brought home safely, and it's something that we can bring some resolution to. And my heart goes out to the family as well.
And Sheriff, just one last question. President Trump has stated that he has directed federal law enforcement to assist local authorities and the family. Can you just speak to the fact that everyone, top down, is coming together, working to save her, to save Nancy Guthrie?
Well, this is the importance of working together, both state, local, and federal. This is how law enforcement is supposed to work across this country. That's why I think it's so important not to be even digress into a political state. But this is just why it's so important that we have great relationships amongst our federal partners and our state and local partners, because this is the type of work we usually are engaged in, where we're trying to help families. We're trying to find victims of crimes. We're trying to find suspects of crimes. And I love that President Trump has agreed to exhaust those resources. I know the state is, I know the county is. I've reached out to the sheriff myself. I've said, hey, whatever I can do to help, I would love to be of help. Not that I don't know much I can do, but I know that everybody is working together to try to help solve this case and bring Mrs. Guthrie home.